you can't talk about the broad markets this week without talking about Greenland. Tariff threats with President Trump wanting to have it be a U.S. territory, then backing off and sharing at his speech at Davos that he will not use force. The markets are reacting. And so let's take a look at where we think it might be headed, but also what tools I used that helped me be prepared for the rally that's been ensuing since Wednesday morning before any of that possible turnaround came into play, right? So I'm gonna use price action, market timing, and momentum because I'm HEMA ready and that's what I do. So let's look at the E-mini S&P 500 futures on the front month contract here, March 2026. Beautiful low formed yesterday, January 21st, and we are higher. Let's go to a 60-minute chart. And what I want to point out is that while this is detailed in my full reports, my skinny and the mini that I send out to my members who subscribe to that service, it actually beautifully unfolded. There were a few things. Number one, hitting a very key price level from the daily chart, okay, right into 9 a.m. when I was writing the report on Wednesday morning. Two, a bullish pattern on the RSI Power Zones. And again, I'm teaching the entire 4 zones RSI coverage system live next week. So if you want to get in on that, keep an eye on your emails. We will be opening the doors for a couple days. And on top of that, that's price, that's momentum. I've also got market timing in my trifecta. And there was a beautiful timing for a forecasted low that was supposed to say 8 a.m. is going to be a low. That was yesterday. So I was all hands up that this market's trading higher, and that was before President Trump started speaking. So I just want you to be aware that while the market action definitely was fueled by the latest commentary, I anticipated it ahead of time because of the tools that I use day in and day out, okay? Now, where do we see things going from here? It's capped by the bear resistance power zone a bit. I still think overall we are on track for a bit of a move higher into the 7,000 area, not further than that before a potential pause. All right, now let's go to the NASDAQ. So NQH26. We're going to stay here in an intraday chart because again, it's a very similar story. So now you can see that we have also come back to the gap. In that case, it's closed it. Okay, so it closed the gap down that happened when the news first broke. And right now, the NASDAQ is not as pushing higher as the ES. So it might already be in a time for a pause. Now I'm going to go back to the daily chart. So yes, I'm doing things a little different. And you can see that all in all, we're still consolidating between the December 11th high, December 17th low. NASDAQ might have a little bit of a pause ahead, but overall, I would look for opportunities to the upside given the latest news. Again, the news may come in and ruffle things up again. Now let's look at YMH26, so Dow futures. The Dow futures, again, is a much smaller basket of stocks, and it is much stronger than the S&P or NASDAQ, heading back up towards its recent all-time high from January 13th. Looking at it on a 60-minute chart, again, I'm just doing this to have apples to apples. We can see that we've already closed up the gap that happened from the news from the long weekend, and the Dow has pushed above its bear resistance power zone. It's pushing up towards bull resistance. So the Dow is definitely stronger of the bunch. So that's what's going on intraday right now in these three averages. I'm going to go ahead and lay out some forecasts. I'm going to be bold. This is just education. These are not levels to trade off of, but here we go. Let's go back to ESH26, and here is a new forecast. So the forecast is for ES futures to trade up to 7079.25 by February 12th. So notice two things. One, that's not that far away from the current price action. Two, that's a long time if you think about trading days, right? From a short-term trader perspective. So this indicates to me that while the market is tilted to the upside, it could either have a really strong move higher and achieve its goals ahead of the time target, or it could just start chopping around again. And either way, this is still a magnet pulling on price. I wouldn't be surprised if on that day, at that price action's there. Now, I'll teach the full approach to how to navigate that in my loss forecasting trading system, and I'll come back a little bit later in Q1 to dig into forecasting further. Right now, all eyes for me are on the 4 zones RSI coverage system and my RSI power zones, and holding near the bull support power zone yesterday was a really important clue. I started talking about it on Tuesday, okay? It confirmed yesterday, and we're up and away since. So make sure you're looking at all of your disciplines at the same time. Price, time, momentum. That's what I did yesterday, which helped me be prepared for the upside we've experienced since then, and it will be useful in the future. So if you found value in this video, helpful technical reminders, useful index futures updates, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video.